if you could poof and magically change one thing about competitive pipe bands today, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good question. See, there's so much that's good about the whole competitive pipe band scene. I don't think I could offer anything as a criticism.
Not a criticism by any means, but just if you could magically change something, what would it be?
More in the concert format. I'd like to see more bands do more concerts and less competitions. I think they would enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
And I think something where, I mean, there are concerts, and the concerts are hugely successful.
Yeah.
I mean, the pre-Worlds concert every year is sold out, and the bands that prepare for that, you can feel the buzz in the band and the people that are in it, and they're talking about it for the whole year.
Absolutely.
And they get to do it maybe once every 5-6 years.
Exactly.
But they're competing several times every year. They're just, and then there is a demand for it. You know, just more of a concert type format, and there may even be some ways in which even, you know, to attract more people to band competitions, that as well as the competitive element, there's some sort of competition stroke concert element that's fed in there.
I couldn't love that anymore. I completely agree. I think that if there's one project that any band in the world could do that would help out their entire organization, musically, economically, everything, it would be put on a concert. It doesn't have to be the biggest concert in the world. Put on a concert. And absolutely, I would certainly vote for that if there was something that we could change about the competitive arena to help the evolution, to find what it is that we're looking for. I agree. I think it would be some sort of open format that's maybe not a circle, but on a stage. That isn't regulated by anything really, maybe just a time parameter, and after that you literally have carte blanche to do what you want.
There's a fantastic example of that in Dunedin, Florida, where the City of Dunedin band play concert in the park numerous Sundays and numerous weekends during the year.
Excellent.
The guys enjoy that. It's superb entertainment for the crowds, for the people. It gets the whole pipe band movement exposure, and every bit as enjoyable as the competition.
That's beautiful. I mean, who wouldn't enjoy that? And again, I think it breaks out of this mold, this routine I think a lot of pipe bands go into. You know, I've spoken to so many smaller bands in the States especially who've never even thought of doing anything other than parades and competitions. Maybe a pub crawl here and there for Paddy's Day, but they've never even thought to do a concert because they think concerts are regulated for the grade 1 guys, and that's just not true. I mean, you can be a grade 4 band, have 10 to 20 people in your organization, and give a fabulous concert in the park or in front of the city hall or for something that's not a contest and not a parade. Absolutely.
And there are a number of really good examples in Northern Ireland of grade 3 and grade 4 bands giving local concerts in local town halls. Fantastic.
That's beautiful.
Examples. Yeah.
What do you think it is, Gordon Parks, that has helped Northern Ireland to be such a positive place for pipe bands that seems to just get bigger every year and just it's very inviting, it's very warm, I find anyway. I mean, what do you think has helped shape that over the years for Northern Ireland?
We have a huge marching band culture here, way beyond pipe bands, lots and lots of different marching bands. And what happens is young people get into drumming and marching bands and they quickly realise the best drumming in the world is pipe band drumming. Yeah. So they gravitate to that, and we have fantastic teachers here in every little town and every little village. There's a pipe band with a really good teacher somewhere. 90 odd pipe bands, each with their own very good teacher. And that's just, you'll see it when you get to view the competition that you're going to visit. You'll see lots and lots of grade 3, grade 4 bands filled with young drummers with their teacher playing alongside them. So there's a huge teaching culture here. It's in the local area. The teachers are respected. They've got a way of bringing young people through, and these young people ultimately are all very successful. And there's lots and lots of young people who are role models through the current world champions that have come from here and so on. Yeah. So we find that there's a set of role models here which breeds something into the culture. It means young people see role models to follow, for want of a better word.
And this has been happening for decades, right? I mean, is this ultimately what brought you and your brother to pipe bands?
Yes, ultimately our role models were our uncle's piper and a drummer playing in what was a grade 3 band back then that was relatively successful in grade 3. And we saw something there that, certainly when I watched the marching bands, every time the pipe band would come past, I was fixated and fascinated by the drumming. And I know that there's lots of young people out there, and that's what attracts them. They see what's happening with the drummer's hands and say, wow, that's really powerful.
That's right. I love that it's such a community thing, and I love that there are so many family ties, because, I think probably most people who are in pipe bands in the U.S., the attraction probably just came from the music as opposed to the family lineage. Certainly have some of that. What would you say to a community and a small band that maybe doesn't have any of that? They don't have the things that most pipe bands have in Northern Ireland, but they have their little band, and they're doing everything they can to try to grow and recruit and finding struggles every step along the way. What are some things you would advise them to do to try to realize that their community can in fact be the same?
I think it's all about engaging with the young people and the members of the group and saying, what keeps you interested, what keeps you motivated, what do you want us to do, and then responding to that. So it is about responding to the need and not having some sort of dictator who's a leader who's saying this is the way we're going to do it and everybody else is being switched off. It's all about ensuring that the group that you've got have a set of needs and you're meeting those needs. And if people want to do concerts, people want to do parades, then trying to find ways to do that, and in the learning process also trying to ensure that you're meeting people's needs in terms of what helps them learn better. There's too many teachers sit down in front of someone and teach them their way of teaching. The modern way for me of teaching is you're asking the young person, what are they not getting, what do they need to know differently? Ask them to self-reflect, ask them to tell you to help them better. So it's more of this interactive engagement and much more empowering people to tell you what they want and then responding to that will get better results.
I don't think there can be any better answer to that question. I couldn't agree with you more. I think, because perhaps it's the way a lot of us were taught. You walk into the classroom, there's the leader up front, you do exactly what they say, and if you do exactly what they say, you do well. If you don't, then you don't. And most people just don't learn that way. And especially today, because younger people have a better perspective of what's going on in the world, because the world is in your hand now, right? And that's a relatively new thing, but it's at least pervasive enough where young people can handle that question. What do you want? What's cool? What do you want to learn? What do you want to do? And if you ask a young person that question, if they don't know the answer, that's a really cool opportunity. Give that young person some space and ask them again next time.
Yeah.
And then just by getting those wheels turning, it'll come around. And maybe the answer is not pipe bands. That's okay. Yeah. But you can at least be an engaging person in their community.
Absolutely.
Who's easy to talk to. Yeah.
And if they don't know what they want, you give them options.
Yes.
Well, if you don't know what you want, try this, or this.
Absolutely. Because, we're really lucky in the States when it comes to musical opportunities for young people. Like I said before, there's concert bands and orchestras and marching band. There's all kinds of junk that we have for kids, let alone all the other non-musical activities. And then pipe bands have to find their place at the table. The local pipe band who struggles to recruit and struggles to retain players. I think that's the challenge. I think the challenge is making sure the young people in their community are aware that we're here too, and we're a lot of fun. And by the way, you can keep playing in our band after you graduate high school, after you graduate university. When you're doing a job, when you start a family, the pipe band will always be here. That's not the case in most of the music in the States. And I think that would be a really positive thing and really impactful thing. Community engagement, says Gordon Parks.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more. Do you see some more playing in the future of Gordon Parks in one form or another?
Don't think so. No, I don't.
You don't have any musical desires unfulfilled at this point?
I have a desire to continue to give back to the through teaching and see the progression of the whole movement and progression of the whole pipe band drum community, for want of a better word. Yeah. And I certainly know that there are many areas where somebody who's been around for 50 odd years can add some guidance and some advice.
My goodness, yeah, 100%. I mean, we certainly thank you for all the time and effort it takes to do that, to travel all over the world, of course, to judge, but I mean, just to share and to teach. I mean, I think that's wildly valuable. And again, I think because to me, it's not just that you were a part of such an elite ensemble for so long, but that you saw it from grade 3 all the way up, and that you were able to bridge the gap, if you will, between the beginning ways of doing things and the equipment, everything else we talked about, into the more modern era. You kind of crossed over that bridge. So having been through all that, I mean, of course, you have just a wave of a treasure trove of things to share with everyone. There's no doubt. Do you have a moment or two, an achievement or two, a something in your performing career that you still hold in higher regard, something that's really special to you? You know, one of those thoughts that you always embark on more than others when you think about your playing days?
Certainly what stands out is the first time that the band won the World Championship in 1992. That's a life achievement.
Sure.
I mean, that was the goal. And you know, that's another thing I say to people when I'm teaching them. What is your goal? Because right from the early days when Richard and I started way back, our goal was to be the best pipe band in the world.
You said that out loud. That's what it was.
That was the goal. Now, back then, we have no idea how we were going to get there.
Sure.
But we knew the best way to get there was to go and watch the people that were currently there.
Yeah.
And study and watch, and that's what we did. All the top bands, all the top players, we just hung on to their coattails.
Excellent.
Just day in and day out, competition in, competition, learning, taking it back through the winter, modifying and improving, and constantly on a goal to continuously improve. So having the overall vision, we wanted to be the best in the world, but then having milestones. First, to do that, we've got to be the best locally.
Yeah.
We've got to be then the best in Ireland, and then eventually get to the best in the world. So that journey and ultimately succeeding in August 1992 was the highlight that sticks with me. But then doing it again the following year and winning all 5 majors that year, which was just an incredible. Those 2 years for me,
hard to beat that.
The highlight in my career. Yeah.
How about now? I mean, to see this thing that you built over so many years, to see your brother still in it, I'm sure many other people as well. What's it like to see what you built continue to flourish?
Yeah, it's good to see that the band's still successful all these years later, and all the bands that I studied as a young child are still there, still successful. Boghull and Bathgate and Shots and Dykehead and Glasgow Police, and they're all still there, and it's wonderful to see them all. And the quality, the one thing that really amazes me now in the grade 1 arena and in all the grades, but particularly in grade 1, is there's so much very good quality and a large number of bands all that could take a title on any one day.
It's so true. I mean, just the quality, the size of the bands. I mean, it is really remarkable to see. You know, I'm very small in comparison, have seen the Worlds each year since 2007, and even since 2007, I mean, I think there's just a radical incline in overall execution and just quality of operations. You know, I remember watching Field Marshal in 2007 and basically every other grade 1 band, and I wanted to see how they rehearsed. Something I say all the time is I'm all about process over product. And so I love seeing bands rehearse of any grade level, but certainly the grade 1 pipe bands. And I remember how the bands were rehearsing back then, and to see what they're doing now, it's just so more efficient, you know? And I think for most groups, it's also a little bit more relaxed, you know? And I think because people have their process figured out, and the team knows the routine, and everyone does their job, which of course all equals a better product. And I think these are the more important things to impart to lower grades is you don't have to be in grade 1 to use these same processes.
And the beauty about these larger grade 1 bands now, it's a huge team effort.
Yeah.
It's no longer the pipe major and the leading drummer only. There's a whole raft of people all
team,
supporting in there. And as you say, it's all a very clearly defined process, all worked through and rehearsed. Yeah.
There's a lot to learn from that. And you know, for me, try to help wrap us up a little bit here. You know, I always feel that there's a whole. I think that there's millions of people out there who would be in pipe bands right now if they could see, hear, and feel guys like Gordon Parks and his ensembles and students, etc. And so it really is an honor and a pleasure to get to talk to you and help get this beautiful message out there, because there really are, you know, we all feel that we struggle with recruiting and personnel and just people to do this. At least we feel that often in the States. And I know that there are millions of people out there who would love to join a respective local band if they could see how impactful the music is, if they could realize this is an activity, a community you can participate in all over the world and for your entire life. And there's not a lot of activities that meet those criteria. And again, I really think the way to reach those people is by having more Gordon Parks out there.
And I agree totally with what you're saying. The pipe band community is a worldwide small village. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of it is you can go anywhere in this world, find out where the pipe band is, and you've got a connection immediately. And that's something young people can buy into.
Absolutely.
And once they understand that that's there. I mean, my kids who took nothing to do with pipe bands are always amazed that every time we go on holiday somewhere, anywhere in the States, there's a pipe band competition somewhere.
Of course.
And I'm heading off there.
Yep.
And know a whole bunch of people.
That's right,
and,
of course.
That's a fantastic social identity that's there with pipe bands is
and
unique.
That's another thing that's pretty bizarre too, right? Perhaps here in Northern Ireland, it's normal that every little village, every little town has a pipe band. The U.S. is basically the same, but most people in the U.S. are completely oblivious to that. But just like every town has a high school, probably has a high school band program, you probably also have a pipe band or two, depending on the size of the town. Mm-hmm. They're there. We should try to find some more of them.
Yeah, and a competition in every state virtually.
Absolutely.
Every month of the year somewhere.
Oh my goodness, every weekend of every year, yes, there's a pipe band contest somewhere, exactly. Mm-hmm. We'll be on Antarctica before you know it doing the same thing. Truly being international. Gordon Parks, thank you so very much, man. This has been an absolute honor.